How's it going, everybody? I'm Josh from Elder Drunken Highlander, and I'm coming to you with a deck tech update video for Izzet Lifegain? It is, which is one of the videos that we had almost a year ago now, actually. And I've been playing with the deck a lot, and I've made quite a few changes to it. So this is going to showcase some of the stuff in this Dalikos Crafters of Wonders deck and the Izzet Lifegain archetype that's come out recently, because there's been some things and some other stuff that I've added and removed to the deck. Before I get into it, I just want to say Dalikos is my commander for this deck, but there are lots of other commanders that are viable for this deck. Niv Mizzet's probably the best one. So if you want to run other commanders for the deck, there's a lot of other options that you can run. This is just the one that I chose because I kind of like him. So we're gonna showcase all the stuff for the deck one thing at a time. We're gonna start with our life gain engines. These are the things that gain us life. And some of these were in the original deck tech video, and some of these were not. So we have some new ones. I'll talk about some of the new ones. So most of these were in the original, but we do have some new additions. The main one I want to talk about is Life Tap here. Life Tap says whenever an opponent taps a forest or mana, you gain a life, which seems like pretty nominal because of, like your opponents aren't always running green, but it's actually kind of sweet because of Yavimaya, Forest of Growth. So you have Yavimaya, all your opponent's lands become forests, and then this thing gains you life with Yavimaya. So it's actually our best combo. This is an altar. This is Golem's Heart says whenever an opponent plays an artifact or casts an artifact spell, you gain a life is all it is. So it's just a little life gain engine. I'm actually thinking about cutting it soon because it doesn't really trigger as much as I'd like it to. So those are our life gain engines. Chalice of Life flips into Chalice of Death, of course, which deals 5 damage whenever it taps. This one's really sweet against Mill because it's from anywhere. Yeah, those are like how we kind of passively gain life in this deck. When I claim I'm a life gain deck, these are the ones I talk about, but those aren't actually the main ways that we gain life. Where do I want to put this? I guess we're going to put them off screen. Alright, next we have our Planeswalkers. There's 2 of them. Tezzeret and Doritos, baby. They just, Tezzeret searches for stuff, and sometimes he untaps things, but mostly he searches for stuff. And Duretti returns things from the graveyard, and sometimes he loots, but mostly he returns things from the graveyard. Pretty simple stuff. This deck likes to durdle around and do nothing, so Planeswalkers are always good. Speaking of durdling and do nothing, these are our value artifacts. These are the artifacts that we use to kind of gain us value over time. Propaganda's in there just because I didn't really know where else to put it. They are life gain payoffs, or things that enable our life gain payoffs, or just things that kind of sit around. I didn't really have they're kind of this is like a miscellaneous category, I guess, of updates. Propaganda is one that wasn't in the original deck tech video, I'm pretty sure, but I stuck it in there because it's helpful. The rest of these all were. The Transwelliquat's awesome because you can change the target from one value piece to another value piece to your opponent's value piece, all that kind of stuff. Next, we're going to do the lands. First, I'll just put down the basics just because I'm rather proud of them and I would like to show them off. If you want to see how I make all of these, Thursday nights on Twitch, I stream them. Actually, I want to cover that one up. That one's nice. There, boom. So you can check that out. I stream myself making these. There aren't a ton of basics in this deck, and that's because it kind of sucks, and I feel like I have to squeeze every last bit of value I can out of it. And the way I do that is all of these utility lands. Witch's Clinic is new. That's a new addition to the deck. Ancient Tomb is a new addition to the deck. It deals damage to me. I don't know why it wasn't in there initially. Urza's Saga is a new addition to the deck. Gets me Shadow Spear, so that's kind of tight. That's kind of neat. It's so funny. In my Niambi deck, I have the Real Inventors Fair and the Proxied Academy Runes. And in this deck, I have the Real Academy Runes and the Proxied Inventors Fair. I should just put the Inventors Fair in this deck. I don't know why I do that. Sulfur Falls in here because it deals damage to me. Swiftwater Cliffs in here because, look at that. It looks sick. And then we have Artifact Land. That's why that's in here. I like to joke that this is my nasty combo. I bounce this and gain an extra life. So good, guys. So good. And then I have these MDFCs. And again, just me squeezing value out of my stuff. I draw cards with this one mostly. I actually don't really use these as lands often ever. I didn't cut lands for, I think I only cut lands for 2 of them. So I was I was kind of conservative. Normally I'm greedy as fuck with the MDFCs, but this deck I feel like you can't afford to be greedy as fuck. Just because, you know, blue-red life gain's kind of a stretch. So you have to be careful. There's a bunch of sirens going by outside, so I cut the video real quick. But here are the artifacts that get me mana, baby. Look at them all. This guy's a creature. And yeah, not much to say here. These ones also gain life. That's pretty sick. This one deals damage to me, which is good. The reason I am noting when things deal damage to me is because of my homeboy Sun Droplet, which says whenever I take damage, I can put a counter on it, and then remove a counter at the beginning of each upkeep to gain a life. If I have a life gain doubler or a life gain payoff, it's a really nice way to get life every turn. This finds Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. That's why it's in the deck, because Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, and Life Tap is just that good. I put in cards to find it. Here is my removal suite. Here's the blue stuff, and here is the red stuff. There we are. That's what I got for removal. This deck has quite a few board wipes. 1, 2, 3 of them. It doesn't have Blasphemous Act plus Washout, which I guess is kind of a board wipe. No Blasphemous Act. This is for like treasure tokens and other token decks. I would make people, and casual people like to play their treasures out and then like stockpile them. And so I could be like Echoing Truth, treasure token, like put that shit away, nerd. So yeah, that's what I like to do. Turn into a pumpkin makes a food token, which gains me life. That's why it's in here. Yeah, the reason I have these 3 bounce spells and not other removal spells in the deck is because I run Dockside Extortionist and Lord Drakis. Dockside Extortionist makes enough mana that I can then mutate Lord Drakis onto it, return one of these to my hand, play it targeting Dockside, bounce Dockside and Lord Drakis, and then repeat the combo over and over again to get infinite mana. It doesn't win me the game in this deck unless I have like this card, so I generally don't think it's like, and even with this card I have to have more life than my opponent, so that's a life gain thing. So I think it's valid to have that infinite combo, even though I'm playing this deck kind of like low power, because it's not really a powerful deck. Just like, the deck's garbage, so I feel like I need the stuff like that to enable it. So that's why I feel like the Dockside Lord Drakis combo is fine. Also, like it requires my opponents to greed out and play a lot of artifacts. I don't have the most efficient bounce spells in the deck for the combo. I have ones that are incidentally good with my life gain. So I feel like it's a fair combo to be doing. Here's my tutors. This tutors for life tap, the other half of the Yavimaya combo, and then we have stuff that just finds artifacts and equipment. Tezzeret is in here too, and Inventor's Fair and Urza's Saga as well, but they were in other categories, so I stuck them in there. Here's the equipment. Dalikos is pretty unique in that he gives me the ability to haste my creatures. I have to keep cutting because the road is so loud. And so I have a lot of equipment that can take advantage of that. This one's just in here for protection, and then like as a backup because I can't have Dalikos all the time. And then stuff like the lifelink, 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 lifelink. Very important. The lifelink attaching to one of my damaged creatures. You're going to see creatures next. They're saving the best for last. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory here. The new card that I've added is the Batterbone. That is a sweet new addition to this deck. It's better than Batterskull because it's cheaper and you don't care about the fucking stats. Who needs stats when you can just gain life? So now we're at creatures. This is the part of the deck that I've probably changed the most. You have Brashy T, my homeboy. Phyrexian Metamorph is another Dockside Enabler. Here's a new card. We're going to talk about Ill-Tempered Loner for a bit. He's very similar to Brash Taunter in that he has the ability to deal damage whenever he's dealt damage. I can put light protection and stuff on him if I need to. But mostly he's just really sweet with the when he's dealt damage, he deals damage to any target. But like I really want to get this flip side, and I really want to hit a Chandra's Ignition when I have some other creatures on the board on like when I had the flip side out, or something like that, or an Arc Bond, and just murder somebody and gain a billion life. So that's the reason he's in the deck. It's like a magical Christmas land scenario that I want to pull off at least once before I cut him. I haven't even cast him yet, so I don't know if he's good. I think part of the reason Brash Taunter is so good is the Indestructible, but Hammer Fist Giant, you know, that's my child. The reason I built the deck was Hammer Fist Giant, more or less. Hidetsugu is just Hammer Fist Giant better. Yusri is a new addition to the deck as well. This guy is sweet. He draws just like 1 to 3 extra cards a turn, normally, and if you give him lifelink, the downside of him dealing damage to you is negligible, if not non-existent. So it's really good. Silent Arbiter just makes sure I don't get beat to death. Dockside's a new addition to the deck because I felt like I was getting targeted a lot for having the most life, even though like that's like the joke of this deck because I have the most life, and I needed. It was becoming a lot of times I just get 3v1'd even though I wasn't actually even winning, and it was really frustrating. So I was like, fine, you know what? You're gonna 3v1 me. I'm gonna build a deck that's capable of being 3v1'd. So I shoved Dockside into the deck, and I also shoved Lord Drakus into the deck. So that's where we're at. These two guys, and also like this card is so pretty, and I feel like it needs a home at all times. So this deck is its current home. Treasonous Ogre, my best life gain payoff, and then Filigree Familiar. Yeah, this guy's really sweet as a life gain payoff. You just pay all your life and use it to gain all of it back at various things. Like, for example, an Umbral Mantle attached to this guy. So that is Izzet Lifegain? It is. The updated deck tech. It's been a wild ride. I haven't added a ton of new cards into it. Turn to a Pumpkin's another new one. But I've added like some packages to it. I think there's like maybe 15 cards different. A lot of the lands are different too. I was not as heavy on non-basic lands when I made the deck initially. I'm now much more into the non-basic land stuff. There's a point where I was running like 4 basics total or like 5 basics total, but I kind of toned that down. I'm running some more basics. That is the entire deck. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, leave a comment, come chat on our Discord. I would love to talk about this deck or any of the other decks that I've made. It's really, really fun with this deck, beating people to death, gaining life, and being like, oh, look at me, blue-red's not supposed to gain life. It's really awesome doing that kind of stuff. So if you want to build a deck like this, or similar to this, maybe with like Niv-Mizzet or Tawnos at the helm, there are some stuff. There's some options. There's some things you can do. So check that out on our Discord. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.